So Stephen, as we've been doing with our other speakers on the 7 Elite online masterclass sessions, we've been asking them to kind of come up with their kind of best starting 11 that they've played with. So a little bit of your own fantasy football. So are you going to tell us who you've gone with? And but first, have you gone with a steady 4-4-2 formation, or you're going to have to play with something different to accommodate certain players?
Games evolved. Got to move with the times, you know what I mean? And to be honest, I think when you hear my team as well, I think you'll understand that it'll probably suit these players to be in a 4-3-3 as well.
Okay.
So my goalkeeper was Pepe Reina, who I played with at Liverpool. He, before Alisson Becker this season, set the clean sheet record at Liverpool. We were part of that defence together that set that record. He was incredible as a goalkeeper. Not only he was probably the first goalkeeper I saw that was capable of playing out in an outfield position. You look at Ederson at Man City and Alisson Becker at Liverpool now, and you think of them two players being brilliant with the feet. Pepe Reina was the first one to really be the next generation goalkeeper, if you like, to start that trend. But an incredible goalkeeper as well, and an incredible guy as well, which was added to everything about him. My left back was someone who I admired for so many years, watching him play, lift Premier League trophies, become one of England's most capped players, and that is Ashley Cole. Arguably the best left back that England's ever seen. Was 100%. It's not even up for argument that he was the best left back in world football for long periods of his career. If anyone was wanting to see how good Ashley Cole was, just try and get the clips of him and Cristiano Ronaldo, England v Portugal at the Euros, playing against each other. The battle that they had that day was phenomenal, and proved to me why he was such a good player. At centre half, I've gone for Sami Hyypiä, the huge, influential Sami Hyypiä. Robbie Fowler once nicknamed him the Interceptor because he never went to ground. He never went in for a slide tackle. His positional sense was incredible. Someone who wasn't blessed with vast speed. He was always just in the right position, the right place, the right time. A calming influence on the pitch as well, and one of Liverpool's best buys, I'd say. Probably cost them around about £2.6 million. In today's game, would be worth well over £70 million. Incredible player. My other centre-back was someone who I played with at Blackburn Rovers, which was Ryan Nelson. He was a New Zealand international. Spent time out in the USA as well, playing for a couple of clubs out there. I think he actually ended up managing Toronto. Didn't go too well for him, but an incredible player. Now, Ryan was one of these players who was full-blooded, technically underrated, hugely underrated, great with both feet, but at the heart of a lion, would throw himself in front of anything, would come off with cuts, bruises, gashed head, you name it. He'd put his body on the line. A real brilliant pro, someone who took me under their wing when I moved to Blackburn as well, and someone who I have so much respect for, a real gentleman as well.
And with Ryan, he always kind of, like, he demonstrated like old school, like, defending. You know, it looked like he really enjoyed defending. Like, a block would just be like a goal scored, or to him, you know, he'd be like old-fashioned.
He celebrated every tackle. It meant everything to him because he knew what he was doing. He knew what he was preventing. And again, I think someone who's probably come from the US game into the Premier League, come from MLS soccer, and that step up was probably daunting to many people. Ryan knew the opportunity being given and the chance that he wasn't going to let slip, and an incredible professional. So at right back, I had to put Carra in somewhere, so he's going to have to get his legs going and get up and down because he's playing right back. Carra was always, he played left back and right back before Rafa came into into Liverpool, and was someone that very rarely got beat as on a 1v1 situation. Incredible defender, understanding of the game.
Yeah.
Technically better than, again, people give him credit for. But what Karen never did to himself was he never put himself at risk. He'd never put himself, or tried to never put himself at risk, and put himself in a situation that would make him look silly or cost his team. And again, I think when you look back at my, maybe not Ashley Cole, but I'd go with the other three, Hippie and Nelson and Carragher. You've got three natural leaders and captains there who would get in most teams. My holding midfielder was Tugai, who I played with at Blackburn. Yeah. One of the most technically gifted players I've ever seen. Left foot, right foot. If he gave the ball away in training, he would get down and give you 10 press-ups, because he never gives the ball away in training. So he'd let you know if he'd made a mistake, and that wasn't often. I've probably seen him do probably 30 or 40 press-ups in the time that I spent with him at Blackpool. The guy was at Blackburn. The guy was an absolute genius of the football. I often look at world-class players and players who slow the game down. They make it go at their tempo. Tugai had that ability, and probably he was happy where he played, but this guy should have played at the highest level. He should have played for a Man United, a Liverpool, or a Barcelona, or someone like that. This guy was capable of things on the pitch, seeing passes and executing them that other people weren't. And that moves me on to my next player, who could also see a pass, who could also execute a pass, but also played at the highest level and plays for some of the best teams in European football. Played for Liverpool, Bayern Munich and Real Madrid. It is, of course, Xabi Alonso, aka the spray gun, the spray can. This guy could just deliver a pass anywhere you asked him to. He could sort of pick out a player on the run if he needed to. He could find people to feet. His ability on the ball was just frightening. And I remember the first training session he come in, the passing was just frightening. Left foot, right foot, and everyone. When he came in, he was he was unknown to the Premier League. No one knew him. No one really knew him at Liverpool. Social media wasn't what it was now when they signed him. And they paid 10.8 million for him at the time, which was quite a lot of money. Yeah. But within that first training session, you knew it was money well spent, and that's testament to him. A huge loss to Liverpool when he left, and probably something that Liverpool will regret, or have regretted, in letting him go. The other midfielder will come as no surprise is Steven Gerrard. All-round, box-to-box midfielder, can score, can assist, can break play up, toughen the tackle, left foot, right foot. Athletically, one of the best I've ever seen. Everyone always thought Michael Owen was fast as a player. Stephen was actually faster than him over the first 10 yards. Hated playing against him, either in training or when I moved clubs and come up against him, because you just knew that it was going to be a very, very tough day playing against him. He could do everything, and he was also very good in the air. So no real need to explain too much about him. Yeah. On the right side of the three up front was Robert Pires, part of the Invincibles at Arsenal, an incredible player, technically frightening, absolutely frightening. I actually played with Robert Pires towards the end of his career when he came to Aston Villa. He was probably a little bit older at the time, so couldn't do the things that he could do at Arsenal. But the ability that he had in training, what he showed, to me, showed why he was such a good player for Arsenal and for France. A World Cup winner as well. Oh, excuse me. He was a World Cup winner with France as well, and part of arguably some of the best front lines in world football. Again, not blessed with blistering pace, but the way he moves the ball, the body shapes, the body feints, moving left and right, a genius on the ball. On the left-hand side of midfield was a player that I struck up a relationship with at Aston Villa. He was the winger who played in front of me. Went on to play for Manchester United and captain them. Also played for England, was Ashley Young.
Yeah.
Ash had this ability where he was a left winger but played with his right foot. I was basically his decoy runner, if you like. I'd run past him. He'd either use my run to play me in if the defender gave me that space, or if the defender went with me, then he'd use that space to whip in the ball. His crossing was arguably only second best to one other player that I had the privilege of. I didn't play with him, but I trained with him many times, which was David Beckham. Ash's crossing was absolutely incredible, his delivery, but his ability to beat players as well. And when you watch Ash, as he can be quite a wind-up merchant on a pitch, but to have someone like that in your team, whose desire to win a game, to push people onto the next level, I'd take that in abundance any day. And my central striker was someone who I grew up watching on the Cop, and then was fortunate enough to play with him both at Liverpool and at Blackburn, was Robbie Fowler. Arguably the most naturally gifted goal scorer that the Premier League's ever seen. Robbie was unfortunate with a few injuries, relationships with managers as well, but a great at Liverpool and a great of the English game. But one thing that I always stress when I say a naturally gifted goal scorer, he worked so hard at it after training as well. He knew he was naturally gifted, but he'd still work on it. It wasn't as if to say, oh no, I'll be fine in them situations, it'll just come naturally to me. He worked at making sure that he was better than if he'd have just relaxed on being a naturally gifted goal scorer. So that's my 11 players that I've been fortunate enough to play with.
And that's a top 11, Stephen. It's great insight into all the players there as well. A little description on why you think that is. So, and I'm sure that's an 11 that would compete with any 11 out there as well. So, no, really.
I think I'd win the league.
What's that?
I think I'd win the league.
Yeah, whenever it resumes.
Yeah, very true.
But no, thanks a lot, Stephen. Thanks for sharing your fantasy football team with us.
No problem at all.